welcome to a new episode of our EBL Academy. Today I'm going to talk to you on how to play the bar. Recently we had a 1 vs 1 bar tournament and I talked to the winner SteamMatrix as well to the participant RoninGold. And you guys will see in the background I played against Faraj and against RoninGold, a 1 vs 1 bar, just to show you the comparison between average player or lower average, take whatever you want, and a pro player. So, the first thing I want to talk about is the bar build. During our tournament we had a rule that only headshots count as hits. So many people decided to use a higher fire rate. Depending on the preference they used a short, medium or long distance scope. Depending on your scope you will have a different play style. If you have a short ranged scope, you will want to get as close to the enemy as possible. You also need to move quick and unpredictable, and that's fitting very good for aggressive playstyle. If you're using a long-ranged scope, you will try to keep at distance. That means that you try to take out the enemy without being seen in the best possible way. This fits for a more passive playstyle. So, just in case that the enemy is getting close to you, what are you going to do? Right, you are going to quickscope. Quickscoping is useful for every scope on short distances, for example from 1 to 25 meters. Otherwise it's also useful for short-ranged scopes on longer distances, from 1 to 80 meters. Hard scoping will mostly be useful to pre-aim and for micro-flicks. I'm going to explain what micro-flicks are later in the video. Depending on your scope you have a range in which you want to force your enemy. If you have a short range scope, you will try to force the enemy in a short distance, because you want to get as close to the enemy as possible, and then you might benefit from your short ranged scope in case that your enemy has a longer ranged scope. This actually fits for a more aggressive play style, because you need to get close to the enemy in order to get kills and headshots. For long ranged scopes you will try to keep it a longer distance and stay away from the enemy. In case that your enemy has a small ranged scope, it's going to be very difficult for him to get a headshot on you, and easier for you to kill him with headshot if you have a longer ranged scope. That's then a more passive play style. So, on how to play. Actually, the most important thing for you is to use the HRV. If you use HRV a lot, it's able, you're able to keep track of where the enemy is. That's really important, that you know always where the enemy is. You should normally just use HRV if you're in a safe area, for example behind a corner, and then if you know the location of the enemy, you will be able to pre-aim your enemy. That means if you are peeking corners, it's very important that you only peek the corner once, not multiple times, because as soon as you peek the corner once, the enemy is going to be able to know where you are. So, but if you have no other choice, you will have to do something that the enemy does not expect. For example, that you jump really quick outside of the corner that you're standing without any cover and try to get a headshot as quick as possible. This is only possible if you know where the enemy is. This is why it's always important to keep track where your enemy is. So, and maybe one of the most important things is aim. It's really important for you to stay calm and loose. You know, if you're being tense, this will affect your aim. If it's really stressful for you to get a headshot, you just need to calm down and keep calm and loose, because otherwise you're not going to be able to have your normal aim which you practiced for. So, practicing micro-flicks. This is a very important point. Micro-flicks are actually when the enemy is moving and suddenly stands still, that you then flick to the head. SteamMatrix told me about that. What he's doing is that he's looking at the enemy where he is, moving from the left to the right side for example, and keeping track. And as soon as the enemy is standing still, for example to aim, he flicks for the head and kills the enemy by surprise. This is very useful, he told me. So what is really important as well is to practice reactions. I think most of you maybe saw that during the tournament. It's very important that you have a good reaction time so that you are able to get a headshot on your enemy. For the movement, you really should not stop moving unless you're aiming. This is a really important point. You really need to always move unless you're aiming, because it's going to be way more difficult for the enemy to hit you if you're moving. I mean, I think you can imagine if you're standing still, it's going to be way easier for the enemy to hit you. So you should always move unless you're aiming, because if you're aiming, you know your aim is going to be really bad if you're moving right now. So, for everyone who has been here since 5 minutes, we have an announcement to make. Yes, we are going to make an event. No, not a tournament, nope. The thing that we are going to do is that starting from the 19th, we are going to start posting code chunks for PCEU, PS4 and PCNA. We are going to hide them very well over to YouTube, over to Twitch, maybe Twitch, Twitter for example, our website, and maybe even our Discord, but we don't know about that yet. So, we are going to make a post on Twitter as soon as we're going to start, just to inform you guys. Maybe we're going to make a post on it on our website as well. And the thing is, if anyone is able to find all those code chunks we are posting, for example PCEU, before the 31st, you will be able to redeem the code and get something really awesome. If no one is able to find out all code chunks for one of our codes, we are going to post out all codes for PCEU, PS4 and PCNA at the 31st at Halloween. So guys, I would say happy hunting. And please don't hate us, because we're going to make it really difficult for you folks. Anyway, yeah, I guess that's it for today's video. So, what is your opinion on the things that we discussed today? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have any tips for the community, for example, something that I did not cover in this video for bar sniping? So, if there's anything you want to discuss, feel free to do it in the comments. I guess I'm going to look once or twice, or, well, at least pretty often in the video description as well. The last thing I want to ask you about is for feedback. I made this video on my own and just gathering information from Steam and RoninGold, and I would be really glad if you guys could give me some feedback. As well, some feedback for the tournament would be very nice as well. So just if you feel free, write down a small feedback, I'm going to be really happy about that. Okay, so folks, have a nice day. See ya!